So we're gonna hop back in this. We're gonna find our friends. We're gonna actually do the assignment we've been assigned with all these glacial stuff. And everything's gonna be fine. Their fellow classmates had vanished into thin air, swallowed by the hills and valleys of the sprawling countryside. Did that mean they had been left behind? Samantha bit her lower lip. The color bled from her face until her cheeks became ashen. Samantha had always loved the countryside. She had pleasant memories of living in the South, in the small village of Ottery St. Mary, until the day her mother had decided to send her to an all-girls boarding school out in the middle of London. But just as much as Samantha had loved growing up in the countryside, she knew well how dangerous it could be. Samantha could still remember that unforgiving night she had spent alone, out amongst the fields, curled up in the corner of a disused cowshed. She had quarreled with her older sister, and the argument had escalated. Foul names had been exchanged, hair had been pulled, and arms had been scratched. Fearful that her mother would punish her for her misconduct, Samantha had later fled. She ran out into the surrounding fields, even though the darkness was beginning to close in. She had shivered fitfully and fallen in and out of a hazy, feverish dreams, curled up in the corner of that dilapidated cowshed with the hole in the roof. When the morning broke, she had been so frozen through with cold she had been unable to stand. If she hadn't been discovered by a passing rambler, Samantha feared to think what might have happened to her. She could have died. And so it was that the moment Samantha realized they were stranded, she started to do what she did best. Panic. Yep, panic. You guys, what is it? I don't know if you've realized yet, but, we're the only ones here. Ah! Roberta and Georgia instantly stopped arguing. Both of them turned to look at the other, eyes slightly wider than usual. Like Samantha, they turned to survey their surroundings. The horizon was endless, stretching out in an unbroken expanse of trees and hills, but there were no people. Not for miles around? How long have we been having the talk about the boyfriend? It didn't seem that long. Everyone had vanished like ghosts. Visions, apparitions, as though they had never been there at all. Roberta swallowed hard, her lashes trembling. Georgia looked unusually abashed, her gaze dropping down to her shoes, which was a first. Samantha had never seen Georgia look so ashamed before, not even when she sauntered into class 20 minutes late. Was it Sam's overactive imagination, or was the evening already beginning to descend? Her own shadow seemed to stretch out behind her, growing even longer, thinner, and more sinister by the second. Oh, are they having a fight? I can't believe it! When we actually need to use your phone, it's out of power. This is like something from a bad horror movie, and nobody else has phones? I'm sorry. Percy looked down at the floor, shamefaced, scuffing the ground with the tip of her trainer. If I had known we were going to get lost, I wouldn't have spoken with Harry so much on the bus. Curse that Harry. How you torment me, even in your absence. If you weren't so enamored with that stupid, simpering fop, we wouldn't be in this situation. We'd be able to call for help, and we wouldn't have to wait around in a godforsaken countryside, getting colder and colder with every second. Or maybe Miss Baroness could have a phone. I'm sure she could afford it. Fuck! With this sudden exclamation, George spun about and kicked a nearby tree hard. Samantha watched from a safe distance, impressed and ever so slightly terrified. That she kicked a tree? She had no doubt that if that kick had come into contact with her, a few of her ribs would be broken right now. Hey! But Percy was a braver person than Samantha, at least when the topic of her true love came up. Don't blame Harry for this. He isn't stupid or simpering. I love him. This is not the time. Maybe you do right now, but that will wear off in time. It always does. That's such a cynical way of looking at things. Just because you feel that way, it doesn't mean I do. You don't want to hear the truth? I'm sorry. True love does exist, and you'll find your Prince Charming out there someday. And while I'm at it, do you want me to confirm the existence of Santa and the Easter Bunny, too? It's all well and good acting so high and mighty, but I don't see you doing anything to help us. That's right. If you're so smart, Georgia, why don't you try to fix everything? Where's your phone? I dropped it in the swimming pool last Saturday. It's totally dead. Why did you ever even take your phone to the pool with you? Georgia shrugged. I don't know. To show off to the other girls on the swim team, I guess. It was the latest model. And how much did that cost you? I don't want to say. Just thinking about it makes me want to cry. Percy rolled her eyes. And you say I can be stupid sometimes. How are you even able to afford all the expensive things you break and lose? Your family isn't that rich. We're not, but you can get pretty far in life when you're literally a lady. Lady Byron. Sounds kind of cool, huh? Like a mistress in a gothic novel. It makes me feel like I should be living out in the wild, moors in a mansion, a mad wife in the attic, and a bunch of deformed servants to do with as I will. If there was one thing Georgia was proud of, above all else, it was that title. Samantha had heard rumors that, whenever Georgia went into Starbucks, she always stipulated that the barista has to write Lady Byron on her cup. Well, given that she was a lady, in name only, with no money at all, she probably had to get her kicks where she could. And what about you two? Do you have your phones? I didn't bring it with me. I forgot. Well, I can't say I'm that surprised. Since you managed to forget to bring half your hair with you, my hopes weren't high. Samantha brought a hand to her hair, frowning. Did it really look that bad? It looks fine, Samantha. Don't worry. Oh, then everybody's left. And what about you, Bobby? You're sensible, right? You remembered to bring your phone, didn't you? Of course I remembered. Unlike Sam, I'm not so scatterbrained that I leave it at home, and I wasn't clumsy enough to drop it in the swimming pool, either. Don't throw other people under the bus. Oh, good job, Bobby. I could almost kiss you. Please don't. And don't call me Bobby like we're friends, either. Madam, you wound me. And yet, despite her protestations of the most horrible heartbreak, Georgia seemed to recover from being rebuffed incredibly quickly. Is Bob all right, then? Even worse. With a long-suffering sigh, Roberta drew her phone out of her pocket. It was not quite as sleek or shiny as Percy's, and was undoubtedly less expensive than George's had been, but it was more than capable of getting the job done. It's a good thing one of us has a functioning phone. You better thank me for this, Georgia. Not like I'm doing it for you or anything. Hey, are you trying to guilt-trip me? Maybe. You deserve to feel guilty every once in a while. It'll work wonders for that ego of yours. You're even more egotistical than I am, Bobby. You just hide it better, behind that old lady facade of yours. Old lady? That's right. You're just like Lillian. You're both so stuffy. Arrogant, too. I am nothing like Lillian. You are. What was it the pair of you said when you were running to be on the student council? That you were going to do your best to represent the student body. The study body. To stand up for us when we are being unfairly persecuted. You wanted to keep a bear in your room, you cretin. A bear? Of course we were going to refuse. But the student handbook only specified we weren't allowed to keep cats or dogs. It didn't say anything about bears. That's because we assumed, wrongly it seems, that nobody would be stupid enough to assume those rules did not logically extend to bears. My, somebody's touchy. I am touchy because I'm trying to concentrate. and your antagonism is not helping. Concentrate on your phone? Concentrate? How hard can it be to find a phone number? You did save Miss Pope's number into your phone, didn't you? Of course I did. I am simply having some trouble because you are distracting me. Then hand your phone over here. I'll call her for you. Oh no, the phone's gonna get broken. What? Hey, wait, what are you doing? But Roberta's cries fell on deaf ears. Swooping in like this music is not good for a tussle. Swooping in like a bat, her black hair tumbling about her shoulders, Georgia fished Roberta's phone out of her hands in a matter of milliseconds. Oh, now this is interesting. Georgia giggled, Roberta's phone secure in one hand. Of course, as everybody knows, the mobile phone is one of the most precious possessions a person can have in the 21st century, is it? Is it the most precious possession you can have? It may be the most precious thing I carry on my person. No longer are phones mere tools used to contact others. They are far, far more than that. Well, I guess I'm learning something. They are more like lifelines, a very extension of their owner's psyche. Part of their... oh, shoot, I didn't read that. Part of their something. Their owner's psyche. Part of their soul. I don't know about that. And a very personal part of Roberta's soul, filled with her most important, private memories, had suddenly been wrenched right out of her hands. What are people doing on their phones? Naturally, Roberta was upset about this. In fact, upset was an understatement. She was almost livid with rage. Georgia, give that back. That's personal. Personal, huh? I wonder. Just how many personal things are stored on here? Oh, now this is interesting. Who is Edmund, and why have you sent each other so many texts? You... don't just read through my stuff like that. Give that back. Georgia, this really is too much. You shouldn't just steal a girl's phone like that. But why? Bobby deserves it. It's 'cause she's always so uptight. I am uptight because I have to spend time with you. You always, always try and provoke me. Only because I always get a reaction. You must not be very smart, Bobby, if you don't even know that. Don't try to blame this one on me. This is your fault. Can you two set your differences aside for once? We need that phone. It's the only way we can call for help. Oh? Are you getting worried, Sam? I bet you wish Lily were here to hold your hand, right? Lillian has nothing to do with this. I don't want to talk about it. Because she hung you out to dry too, huh? Just like she did with Percy. She just like carpet bombing everybody here. For all she spoke about caring for her fellow classmates, she didn't really make much of an effort to fulfill her promises. This has nothing to do with Lillian or Persephone or the student council. Give me my phone back right now. What if I don't want to give it back? What if I don't want to freeze to death in the middle of the countryside? Hand it over. Come on, Georgia. This is childish, even for you. I don't want to be wandering around here when it gets dark. It's more dangerous out here than you may think. Don't act so serious, you guys. I'll give it back. Soon. First, though, Bobby, you have to apologize. Apologize? For what? For being such a psychopath. Is that supposed to be that? Psychopath. Who makes promises but never keeps them. Then, maybe I'll think about it. You really are impossible. Of all the nerve. Really? I think you're the one being impossible, Bobby. Stop calling me Bobby. My name is not Bobby. Now give me my phone back right now. Roberta reached forward, trying to snatch her phone from Georgia's hand. Georgia stepped backwards, trying to hold the phone out of Roberta's reach. A move doomed to failure, really, given Georgia was quite a bit shorter than Roberta was. Roberta's hands collided with Georgia's. If they had been actors in a movie, that moment of impact would have been shot in a close-up, in slow motion. No! Roberta could only watch, eyes wide with horror, as her phone flew out of Georgia's grasp, making an elegant arc in the air. Percy moved forward, attempting to catch it before it hit the ground, but it was too late. Percy had always been dreadful at sports. That was the main reason why she had been bullied so terribly in her PE class. This is a lot of background information on stuff that isn't the story. She couldn't have caught a ball to save her life. And she certainly could not have caught that phone either, even if it could potentially have saved the lives of 4 people. The phone hit the floor hard, but not with a thud as one might have expected, with a crash probably. Instead, it landed with an unpleasant squelch. It was a similar kind of sound that was made when shoes sunk into mud. Oh, that means it's safe then, I think. All 4 girls looked down at the ground in almost perfect unison. There lay Roberta's phone, the extension of Roberta's soul, their final link back to the civilization, the only sign of the 21st century for miles around. It was resting neatly, almost as though it had been preordained by some greater being, right in the center of a large, dark brown cow pat. Oh, for fuck's sake! Well, order has been... Roberta was kneeling down on the ground, trying to clean the manure off her phone by wiping it against the grass. She had been doing so for the last 10 minutes, but the dirt didn't seem to be shifting. Perhaps if Roberta had not been holding her phone pinched between her thumb and forefinger, as though it was something diseased, the process would have been a lot quicker, but who would want to touch manure? Roberta certainly didn't. Do you think this is going to work? I have no idea. This is somewhat beyond my area of expertise. So I guess even the great Roberta Southey doesn't know everything. Roberta got her feet and glared at Georgia, her face a picture of rage. You know what, Georgia? Why don't you just shut up? This is all your fault, you know. I don't know about that. Is it really? Yes, it is. You know damn well it is. Can't you even take responsibility for your actions? But responsibility is such a boring word. You two, what? Do you have anything particularly insightful you would care to add to this conversation, Sam? Well, Samantha took a step backwards, her hands behind her back. She'd never seen Roberta look so angry before. The dependable motherly image she had once had of Roberta was slowly beginning to fall away, piece by piece. I just thought it would be best if we didn't argue. We can assign blame later, but for the moment, this isn't going to get us anywhere. That's right, Bobby. It's all swings and roundabouts, you know. And what the hell does that mean? Instead of standing around here pointing fingers, we should be doing something productive. Isn't that mature, adult thing to do? Now you look here, Lady Byron. How can you, of all people, stand there and give me that advice when this is your fault? Roberta, we're not getting anywhere. Just ignore her. Trying to find who is at fault. Who isn't at fault? That's so childish. I expected better of you, Miss Treasurer of the Student Council. I don't need to try and find who's at fault. It's you. You're clearly the one at fault here. Oh my, trying to vent your frustrations on poor innocent old me. I suppose, if I must be the sacrificial lamb to keep the party's spirits high, I do not mind. Cut me open and feast on my flesh if you will, and I hope you choke on your guilt later. Georgia, I don't think you're helping. Part of being an adult is admitting to your own mistakes, isn't it? Percy tried to interject, but it was all in vain. Georgia didn't listen to her. Georgia didn't listen to anyone. The only one who should be feeling guilty here is you. Stop trying to act like a martyr, you shameless demon. Ooh, you think I am evil incarnate? I'm happy you think so highly of me, Bobby. Indeed I do. I believe you are the most egotistical, self-centered, selfish, unrepentant swine I have ever had the misfortune to meet. Alright, that's enough. I'm tired of listening to you two argue. Why don't we try to get along, just for the moment? We've waited here long enough, and I doubt anybody is going to come back and find us, so we may as well start searching by ourselves. Oh, is the phone destroyed now? I missed that part. I've been waiting for the resolution of the phone situation. But we don't know where the youth hostel is, and we don't have a map. We might just get even more lost. We might, but that's probably better than standing around here fighting, don't you think? Well, since somebody broke my phone, this might be the only recourse we have. At least walking will do us some good. I'm so cold I can't feel my toes. Alright, fine. I wanted to stretch my legs anyways. I was getting so bored standing around in the same place. And so the interpreted group of explorers were united under a common goal, to return safely to civilization. Okay, I've got some questions about the story here before I end the episode. Alright, so the bus dropped us off. It dropped us off, I guess, in the middle of a field during glacial seasons, where they could study glaciers. I don't know. They're studying how fucking cold it can be, so nobody decided to dress appropriately. They lived in a field after already walking 2 hours? So maybe they walked 2 hours to the field, and now they're in the field to walk some more to the hostel? I don't understand what they're doing. But only two of them had a phone. One of their phones dead. The other one got dropped in a cow patty and is now broken because poop is acidic, I guess. So yeah, we're gonna find the rest of the civilization. Maybe I'll get to make some decisions and lead this group out, but right now Sam doesn't want to listen to me. Right now the story isn't even about Sam, so it's not really her fault. It's more just Georgia's fault. Everybody blame Georgia.